The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into a very exciting episode of Running Point, Monday episode. Anthony Hartwig with you. As always, we are brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. Today's show is jam-packed. Not only are we going to have everything we do on a Monday with a recap of the weekend like we always do, and we're going to have a player profile featured later on the show, but even though we're in the midst of the fall sports season and we're gearing up towards the postseason, we have to take a little bit of a time out and get our minds back on softball because there is some big news going on in the softball world. Sydney Watts has been lighting the world on storm, state champion Austintown Fitch for the last 2 years going into her junior season. Everyone knew this summer was a big one for her where she was going to be going on a bunch of visits and making a bunch of meetings with coaches, and she has made her decision on where she's going to verbally commit to play for the next 4 years as a softball player. We're going to bring Sydney on, and she's going to let everybody know exactly where she's going to be playing for the next 4 years. Sydney, thanks for coming on. It's a big day for you, girl.
Thank you so much. I'm going to be furthering my academic and athletic career at Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, welcome to the 440 in the city of Atlanta. Sydney, my first question before we dive into what made Georgia Tech feel like home, this whole recruiting process has probably been a whirlwind for you, especially this last summer. From your perspective, what's it all been like?
It's been crazy. It's been a lot, but very exciting. Going on visits was fun, but honestly, I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, it's a lot of stress, and a lot of people have been waiting for this decision for a while. Let's talk about Georgia Tech. Let's bring Ty Bartell, your good buddy. He's popping in, too. He wants to be a part of this moment. Let's talk about Georgia Tech. You went on the visit. What was it that made you make that decision really quick that this is where I want to be at home?
From the minute I stepped on campus, I knew that's where I wanted to be. The school, obviously, is a very good school, and the coaching staff, the area, just everything about it was just perfect.
Now, Sid, I know for a fact that Anthony's keeping a nice, cool, calm, composed face right now, but inside he is giddy as all heck about your decision, too. But when we were talking, Sid, I know this one wasn't one that was originally on your radar. So what was the thing that really impressed you most, that really drew you to Georgia Tech? Because I know not originally on your radar, but this is what you went with.
Everything. My dream has always been to play down south, and the minute I talked to the coaching staff, I knew that's who I wanted to play under for the next 4 years.
All right, let's talk about that coaching staff. Obviously, Eileen Morales played for Georgia Tech. She's a Hall of Famer there. And then you get the new pitching coach and Coach Dixon coming along this year. I know she was a big role in this as well. What was it about this coaching staff that made you fall in love with them and made you feel so comfortable at Georgia Tech?
Just their personalities. They're all very different, but they bond together so well. And I feel like it's the right fit for me with their personalities.
Christy and Tommy are more than just your parents. They're also softball super fans. I know, both in their own right, too. What was the news like breaking it to them when you finally decided this is where I wanted to go? What were both of their reactions like?
Well, my mom said she knew over the weekend, just seeing how happy I was and seeing my smile. And she said I just kept saying how much I loved it there. Like she said, I couldn't go 10 minutes without saying how much I loved it. And unfortunately, my dad couldn't go on the visit with me, but just hearing how happy and how much I loved it, he was happy for me.
You're getting a lot of love in the comments, Sid. This community has been just waiting for this decision, like we said before, and you're getting a lot of congratulations, a lot of how much this community is proud of you. Austintown Fitch and beyond. You're seeing some coaches from other teams that you play against as well. What's it mean to you to have the whole kind of softball community up here in Youngstown in the Northeast Ohio area be happy for you?
It means a lot. It's just great knowing how many people support me.
You look at coming in as a freshman, Sid, and I don't think you could have ever expected the whirlwind that was going to follow after your freshman year too. And I mean, you've become one of the hottest stars in sports, not just softball, in sports in the entire area. With that 2 years under your belt, you know this decision was looming. You got this done. What do the next 2 years look like for Sydney Watts prior to going to the actual college?
Just continuing to work hard, and we're gonna win states again. So that's obviously that's one of our goals, obviously. But no, just continuing to work hard and pushing myself to be better than I am now.
Sid, I know you're only one day into this decision, but how much easier is it going to be to just go out there and enjoy the last 2 years at Fitch now that this decision is over? You're not worried about impressing coaches. You're not worried about where you're going to be the next 4 years. This is where you're going to be. So now you can just focus on being the best Fitch Falcon that you can be for the next 2 years.
I think it's going to be a lot easier for me because that was one thing. I was very stressed with recruiting. I constantly emailing, constantly posting on Twitter. It's going to be a lot easier for me. But like I said, I just got to continue to work hard. And yeah.
What's the most excited thing you are for non-college wise about Georgia Tech going down there and having that experience down there? What is the most exciting thing for you going down there?
I love the city. I love the city, and just most people look at Atlanta and like think, oh, big city. I feel like Georgia Tech is its own bubble. Like it's a campus, a very big campus town. Like it's all Georgia Tech, and then 5 minutes down the road you have the big city, and I love that, and it's more.
Past softball, Sid, Georgia Tech is known for its academic prowess, of course. It's an engineering school. It's one of the best engineering schools in the country. What are you going to be going down there to, learn and study about? Do you know yet?
Not really. I really do like the idea of physical therapy, but which would be a bio major, but I want to look more into that.
Do you ever have to kind of like pinch yourself and remind yourself that you will be playing college softball now? Like it's no longer in question. Like there's a check mark next to your name that collegiate athletes or athletics are waiting for you.
I don't. It hasn't processed yet.
It hasn't processed. Let's just, before we let you go, I want to just take your mind 2 years in the future when you sign on the dotted line and it becomes a reality. It's official. You know yourself better than anybody. What do you think that moment's going to be like for you to have that moment and to be able to officially say without a shadow of doubt that your dreams have come true?
It's going to be very exciting, probably a few tears. Actually, I cried last night, but no, just very exciting overall.
There's obviously going to be a lot of tears. A lot of people so happy for you, Sid, and everything that you've done and brought to this community. We'd be remiss without giving you that opportunity to give, once again, thanks to everyone that's made this dream possible for you.
Yeah. So I want to thank my parents, my mom for always being my travel buddy, my dad for spending hours pushing me, my little sister for being my biggest cheerleader ever, and all of my coaches, everyone with recruiting, practice, pushing me, and the community, just everybody.
All right, so obviously my last question for you, obviously your dad wasn't in Atlanta, so excluding your dad, who was the first person that you had to tell that you made this decision and that you were gonna continue your career at Georgia Tech?
My sister. She wasn't home. She wasn't home when after I talked to the coaches, but my sister and then my best friend Callie.
All right, so now you tell the whole world. We all know. everybody knows Georgia Tech is where you're going in a couple of years to continue your softball career. Congratulations so much. We wish you the best of luck. We'll talk to you again come softball season when you're back in that Austintown Fitch blue and red.
Yes, thank you so much.
And I mean, I didn't mean to come in and straight invade your show, but I mean,
You know what?
we had that big announcement. I had to have a front row seat from it. I came up just from Columbus the other day. We were doing some soccer down there for the Campfield Cards, and I mean, we're getting all kinds of sports on the network right now of all different types right now. So loving this season and what we've been able to do.
Ty, whatever it takes to get you back on Running Point.
we love it. We love it too, and I mean, with all the games and stuff that we've been involved in this year too, you've been holding down the fort with this show amazingly too. All the interviews you've been able to check off and give these student athletes a little extra spotlight. It all goes a long way, brother, too. And I mean, it's huge too with what you've been able to do and continue to do with this show throughout the years.
Thanks. I mean, honestly, like I don't want to get in a mush fest, but you were a big force in driving this show and where it can be. I know you're not like a guest host anymore. You're not a host anymore. But what we did for that year, was it a year? It was over a year. I think it was over a year together at Running Point is really the reason why it is what it is today. So you deserve a lot of credit for this show, even though you're not on every day anymore. You deserve so much credit for where this show is because we together, you and me, set the framework of what we wanted this show to be, and that's lived on, even though you're not on the show every day anymore. So, every time this show gets some love, I want you to take that a little bit and pat yourself on the back.
Well, and I mean, we got a mission with myself. We're brick and mortaring some other parts of this company, making it bigger, making it stronger too. Right. But it's all for the goal of clearing up some more time for myself. So maybe one day too, I could have that entrance back into the show or a show of some form too, and be able to help out.
What, Ty? You're always welcome on Running Point. I don't care if you pop in unexpected like you did today, or you tell me in advance, hey, I want to be on. You're always welcome on this show for sure. I don't know. Are you planning on staying for a while, or do you have to pop out?
I'll probably be popping out here very shortly. I'll give you actually a preview of what's going on tonight because like I said, just got home from Columbus. We're gonna unpack some things too. I was taking the niece down around OSU after our soccer match yesterday too. So we were 2 for 1 in it. But no, tonight, folks, we have a bunch of premier matchups. I'm going to be up in Archbishop Hoban, Barry Gym. The Castle is what they call it. They're hosting in Berlin Highland, the Hawks, a 15-1 team. Knights are currently 16-0. This is big time as big time can get to. Knights are on a mission. They've all said state championship is their goal. It's what's in mind. It's what their vision is set on. And they have another tough task in front of them. And this has been an impressive Hoban team, to say the least, all season long. And they're going to have to try to get another tough opponent under their belt.
They got one on Saturday, another one over Copley to get them to 16-0. It seems like every team they face, it's like, okay, this team will give them a test, and maybe they do for a set, or maybe they do for a couple of points. But Hoban has just been able to. They haven't gone to 5 once all year, right? This 4 sets a couple of times.
One time, and actually the one time once? They went down 2 sets to none to Twinsburg, and won
you're right. I remember that.
3 straight. Yeah. That's the only team to force them to 5 sets this year. But it's another thing with the Hoban is that they're all getting stronger. And I'm really impressed with the fact that there's only one senior, Sophia Day, that's kind of just in the middle and just surrounded by all these sophomores and juniors that are absolutely doing incredible things, maybe a year or two before when you expect them to. Right. And it's really, and it's all brought to a head by their skipper, Jim Maloof. He's doing a phenomenal job once again with those kids. And I mean, Hoban, they look like they're on a mission. They say they're on a mission too. And I hope they can complete it, man. I really do, for those girls.
You know what, Ty? We saw it last year with the Jefferson team, the way that they put together a 19-win season in the volleyball season last year when they had one senior. Sometimes when you have that one senior, you fight like heck to make it the best year that they can possibly have, because they're the only ones that you're going to have to say goodbye to. So you want to give the ultimate respect to that one senior. So we see some teams have that one senior, and they fight more than any other teams do.
And Jefferson didn't take a step back too. They got one of the big squares on our power rankings right now too. So if you haven't checked that out, you wanna swing over to the top 25 volleyball teams.
Let's go, Ty. Thanks for coming on. Before you go, this one quick thing. Give me a quick, obviously Sydney Watts, you cover her a lot. What do you think from your perspective, seeing her commit to the next level and having her now be, a future college softball player? What do you think that does for Fitch and what that does for her and what that does for the softball community.
I think it actually goes back to Lydia Spalding pitching for Fitch, really kind of bringing the eyes. But Sid's kind of taken that and taken it to the next level, right? And I mean, Fitch has had pretty good pitchers this last decade or so on that softball side. But Sid took what Lydia and them were doing, which was really starting to build that program of like, here's where we want to be. And Coach Ward's been there for some years too. And it takes some years to build that program, but it feels like he was starting to really get it to where this is where we want our program to be. This is the standard we want it to be at, and this is what we want all these kids to meet. Sid came in, and I think she just elevated that bar a little bit. She took that to the next level. And on top of all that, too, besides the fact that she's just a phenomenal player, the best pitcher, I'd say, too, and I mean, I might be a little bit biased, but the best pitcher in the softball map in our area. But as a person, as a kid, and you'll hear throughout all the interviews that you will do with her throughout the season, post games with me, a stand-up person, a great family she comes from, too. Both Tommy and Chrissy, phenomenal people. I can't tell you how much love I have for that family as a whole, too. They're definitely a very special family to me, and I couldn't be happier for Sid to be able to get that dream. I didn't care where she was going. I just wanted her to go somewhere and be happy too. So I'm so excited for her.
I want to point out, I kept it together until you came on and threw it off. You threw on the monkey wrench and you're like, oh yeah, Anthony.
Oh, I know you were excited. I know. But as a Georgia Tech fan, but and I mean, like when I see these student athletes too, it's funny because like I see Jonas Nichols commit to Kent, and I'm like, oh my God, like Kent basketball is going to be lit in the next few years. But now you talk about being a college fan too, and it's so cool when you kind of have that line bleed from one another, from your high school sports that you're covering into college fandom. Buddy, you got a pretty solid pitcher on that Georgia Tech team.
Let's go. Not the first pitcher that we get from the Northeast region either, because remember, Carter Wachtel from Triway going into her senior year, she'll be heading to Georgia Tech.
Imagine having both of them too.
Couple of years, those Yellow Jackets will have 2 Northeast Ohio pitchers in their rotation.
It's going to be super exciting too, and I know your relationship too with Georgia Tech too. It means we kind of have a pathway and a little bit of a way to make sure we can follow Sid throughout her career.
You know, Coach Morales has already been on YSN once.
Do a little Coach Morales, Sydney watch.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, let's go.
When signing day comes,
that would be it.
You might see Coach Morales pop on Running Point. You never know. You never know.
Yeah. I'll have to make an effort to pop on Running Point some more, as I can help you out as much as I can.
Always welcome, Ty. Always welcome.
Thanks for
again
having
for
me
popping
on.
Ty Bartell, one of the great people that works for YSN, does so much for us, writes a lot of stories that you see pop up on the website, does a lot of great post-game interviews, and really what I think Ty is best at is the reason why he was on that interview in the first place is just building relationships with the athletes that he covers, building those bonds, building those connections, impacting lives. And in my perspective, that's the best thing YSN does. We impact people. So want to thank Ty for popping on, and always welcome. Once again, he's been a huge reason why Running Point is where it is right now. Sydney Watts, once again, if you just joined us, she is verbally committed to go and play softball at the Georgia Institute of Technology down there in Atlanta, Georgia, the 404. And we congratulate her on that, and we congratulate her for all her hard work that went into that decision. And now it's just, hey, let's focus on the next 2 years and see what Sydney can do in the next couple years of her high school career. We're going to take a break. We're going to let everyone compress over that. We'll take a commercial break. When we come back, we will recap the weekend of sports, recap the scores, get you all updated on what happened over the weekend, and then we will also have a player profile featured with Canfield girls soccer player Lexi Toporser. Canfield coming off that big win last night, or I should say yesterday afternoon, in the Columbus Crew Soccer Stadium against St. Mary's. So we'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Don't go anywhere.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we continue to do so today with a player profile that we will feature in just a little bit. But first, let's recap the weekend and get you covered on what was going on over the last 3 days as far as the sports world at YSN was concerned. We had a big Friday night slate of football action. Let's go over the final scores for you today here. Friday, September 29th, the last Friday of September, and it went off without a hitch. Pymatuning Valley with a huge win over Fairport Harding. All Lakers, they dropped the anchor on Harding, 49-0, the final score there. Orange, they fall to the Region 17, I should say. Division 5 powerhouse in Perry. Final score there, 42-14. Mineral Ridge takes care of Matthews in their non-conference game, the last one of their season. They host Matthews. They win 48-6. They had 4 different runners have 40 or more yards in that game. They spread the ball around, spread the love around very well, and the Rams get the victory. Warren JFK, tough season continues for them. They fall to a very good Rootstown team, 49-14. The schedule that JFK puts together is not conducive with trying to find your own identity, which the JFK football program is just trying to find their footing. But every week it's like, here's a powerhouse, here's a great team, here's Rootstown, and it's going to continue that way. So they're definitely taking their lumps, but if they can just find their footing, get back up off the mat, which we are confident they'll be able to do, then JFK by the end of the year will be okay. Boardman falls to Warren Harding. They're starting to put together, get a little bit more competitive, but Harding still too much. 38-20, the final score there for Boardman. Struthers absolutely on a roll since losing by the last score to South Range, but the last 2 games since then, 3 games since then, right? 3. Struthers has rolled 40-6. They beat Lakeview. They get another win under their belt. Struthers is playing excellent football right now. AC Carter on a tear for the Wildcats. How about United? No problems against Latonia, 35-0. They get the win. Ashtabula St. John with the last second win over Wyndham. The Heralds get the victory. Big win for St. John. That's number 3 on the season for the Heralds. How about Southern Local? A big second half. It was 22-21 at halftime, and then 30 unanswered points in the second half make the Indians have a runaway victory, 51-21, the final score there over Columbiana. We're going to do this in case you're just tuning in or you haven't tuned into our recaps first. We do the first 3 columns, and then we scroll over to the last one. So I'm not skipping you if you see your teams on that last column. We will scroll over to get them after we do the first 3. Crestview gets another win. Newton Falls, they get the win over the Tigers, a close one, 20-14. The Rebels continue to find positive vibes after a tough start to the season. How about East Palestine? First win of the year. Congratulations to the Bulldogs, and it was not even close. 40-22, East Palestine all over Wellsville, and a big EOAC win for the Bulldogs as well, as they have gone a little bit without an EOAC victory. Salem, they get their first win of the year as well. They go to Minerva and tame the Lions 36-7, the final score there from Minerva. West Branch thought they might get a test from Marlington, who came in a lot better than last year, but West Branch was not having any bit of that. They cruised to a 56-0 victory over the Dukes. I thought this game was going to be kind of competitive. I thought Marlington up and coming. They're trying to earn some respect after a couple of years of being down as a program, but not to be. West Branch is on a different level, and I've said it before. I'll say it again. Bo Alasas, man, he is the real deal, and he's putting on a show for that West Branch Warrior offense, really spreading the ball around a lot. They've got a lot of weapons around him as well. Jackson Milton gets the win 19-6 over Waterloo. Caden Mitchell had a huge day for Jackson Milton, a couple of big offensive plays and a couple of big defensive turnovers as well. So congratulations to him on a great day in the Blue Jays for winning 19-6. Poland gets the victory over Niles, 28-14. The Bulldogs put away the Dragons and silence Niles. The Niles really needed this win. They have South Range coming up, and if they would have won this game, it would have been really first place on the line. But now they need to beat South Range, and then they can share maybe. But at the end of the day, they need to beat South Range and then go perfect the rest of the season. They had the chance, the opportunity, if they were able to get past Poland, of course, to take first place by themselves next week. We'll see how they do against those Raiders in week 8. Garrettsville Garfield, they get a little bit of more of a test than they've gotten all year, but they still cruise 42-21. It's just, I've said it before. Garrettsville Garfield, they put on a different gear when you get a little bit close to them, and then they run away from you. Keegan Sell continues to have his monster season as the G-men roll. How about a game, man? We said I expected Marlington West Branch to be competitive. I think everybody in the state expected this next game to be competitive. Walsh Jesuit going into Archbishop Hoban. The big rivalry, Walsh was state ranked, and Hoban did not care one slight bit because the Knights just roll tremendously. They had 37 points in the first quarter. Come on, Hoban. It's not fair. 57-7, the final score there. They pound Walsh Jesuit, and they continue their revenge tour. They are very hungry. When a team goes to the final game and falls a little bit short, there's nothing that's going to stop them from trying to feed back into the next year. And they are a hungry football team. They're on a mission. They're on a tear. They got that look in their eyes that's not going to be stopped. And right now, no one's gotten close to Archbishop Hoban. And that continues in week 7 over Walsh Jesuit. How about Lowville? Man, they put on a show. 40-6 over McDonald. Not even close. Michael Ballone, a great day for the Rockets as they cruise to a victory over the Blue Devils. Howland and East was close for a little bit, but East pulls away. 30-16 final score there. They beat the Tigers. Hey, and this one, Lisbon. Maybe some people saying, last week it was a fluke. They beat United. They caught United off guard. They, landed a punch. United had a couple of chances to win, didn't do it. Maybe Lisbon's a fluke. And then Lisbon said, no, we are not. They are no fluke. They beat Valley Christian 14-7. This defense continues to just make big plays when they need to. And then on Valley Christian's side, just like that East Palestine game where they got into some trouble, just too many penalties, too many procedure penalties. They had 6 false starts in this game. I don't care how good your offense is. When you're getting behind the chains, you can have a really tough time moving the ball. And Valley Christian had a couple of holding calls, a lot of false start calls, and that just got them way too far behind the chains to have a good offensive output. And Lisbon's defense is good enough to take advantage of those mistakes. So Lisbon gets the win. That's back-to-back wins over big teams in the EOAC. 14-7 Lisbon over Valley Christian. Madison gets a overtime field goal to break the hearts of Edgewood. What a great game. Probably the best game on the network. Unfortunately, it did not go the YSN team's way, with Edgewood losing in a walk-off field goal in overtime. But what a thriller that happened down there in Ashtabula County. Madison, a division above Edgewood, I think, in football, and they get that win 20-17. We'll go to Cheney, who really, they just out-physicaled Mooney. There's no other way to put it. They were just a more physical team that night, and they put it to the Cardinals, 28-12. Final score there. I think a lot of people are surprised by that, the way Mooney had been playing this year. But sometimes when you're riding high and a team comes in and punches you in the mouth, it just makes it a little bit harder to get back up off the floor, and that's what happened. Cheney really got to Mooney early, and then the physicality of the Cowboys let them drain the rest of the clock. One of the bigger tests that Ursuline has had all year, a road trip to St. Vincent St. Mary, but Ursuline still gets the win, 34-20. The Irish, so disciplined this year. They look like a different team, and they've been really good in the past. 2 years ago, they got to a state championship. They just look like there was a little bit of a next level, and it's been reached. So Ursuline gets the win there. Ashtabula Lakeside gets the win at home over Jefferson, 44-14, a big win for the Dragons there. So now, with all that being said, let's scroll over and get that last column of football scores, and then, of course, we will go to Saturday to see what happened on the Saturday of YSN sports. Springfield gets the win over Western Reserve, another game that we thought would be a little bit more competitive, but the Tigers continue to be the class of the MVAC Scarlet tier. They get the win 28-7, the final score there. Harvey runs away from Grand Valley. Final score 42-0 there. Harvey, a very good football team. They've done that to a couple of YSN schools now. South Range, they got into a little bit of a tug of war with Girard, but quick scores at the end made this a not so close affair. It was 28-21, and Girard was honestly driving, but then South Range gets an interception, gets down to the goal line, capitalizes, makes another drive, scores. So South Range with a great finish to run away from Girard. 49-21, the final score there. Raiders get the win over Girard, and that was a welcome back home. They had a 3-game road stint before they had to come back to South Range Stadium. So a welcome back home for the Raiders as they get a big NE8 win to stay at the top of the conference. Next for the scoreboard is Geneva. They're good. They're good. They've done this to a couple of YSN teams. They even beat Springfield early this year by a touchdown, 55-0. Geneva gets the win over Conneaut. This was a thriller too. We talked about Edgewood and Madison going down to the wire. East Liverpool and Edison did not go into overtime, but it was still a field goal that walked off the game for the Potters. Tied at 14, Edison had the ball with really the chance to drive the length of the field and try to get at least a game-winning field goal. But unfortunately for them, a turnover gave East Liverpool the ball deep in Wildcats territory, and that's all they needed to kick a field goal to win the game. 17-14, a heartbreaker for Edison, but a monster momentum win for East Liverpool. They were storming the field. They were huge. They just really felt the juice of this victory. A defensive battle in Camel. No offensive touchdowns here. One defensive touchdown for Champion, and that's it. It was all they needed. 7-0. They get the win over Camel Memorial. That's definite old school football at its finest. The defenses were on point in that game. LeBray with a late spurt to beat a back-and-forth game against Brookfield. This looked like Brookfield's game to the start. Brookfield started off so fast. They put LeBray in a big hole. It was 26-7 at halftime. But LeBray came out, scored in the first possession of the third quarter, and then a couple of mistakes by Brookfield. They got a safety. They had a couple of turnovers, and then all of a sudden, LeBray gets the win 43-33 after Brookfield led 26-7, 26-7 was the halftime score. LeBray had a pick six to end it. Davin Derry with the big game. He had a couple of offensive touchdowns and the game-sealing pick six to win this game for LeBray, 43-33, the final score over Brookfield. Last but not least, another one that really went down to the wire. Hubbard against Beaver Local. Hubbard gets the win, though, 29-25. And the NE8 has not been kind to Beaver Local. They back-to-back losses to those NE8 teams, first to Niles and now to Hubbard. So Beaver Local trying to test the waters in the NE8 maybe. It didn't work out too well for them. But they still have a lot in front of them. Don't forget how talented this Beaver Local team is and how well they can really score. So if they get into the playoffs as a lower seed, I think some of these 3, 4, 5 seeds that they'll have to play in the first round, they should definitely watch out for the Beavers in Austin Klein. Let's go into Saturday. Not too much. It was kind of a quiet Saturday. Sunday, excuse me. We had Canfield girls get the win on Sunday in Columbus. Final score there from Coach Simone. Going to get the update from him. Final score from Coach Simone was 5-0 win over St. Mary's Memorial in Columbus Crew Stadium. They get the victory there. So that'll do it for our recap of the weekend. And we're going to go into player profiles now and hear from a player from that Canfield girls soccer team. After we get a comment, just another congratulations to Sydney Watts. We'll remind you if you are tuning in late and you missed it, Sydney Watts at the top of the show announced her verbal commitment to play at Georgia Tech after her career at Austintown Fitch is over. She still has 2 more years, though, as Fitch. So we still have 2 more years to enjoy her here in the area before she moves to the 404 in Atlanta. But we have had a slew of comments and obviously viewers today congratulating Sydney Watts on that decision. And what a great athlete and what a great person. So we thank you for that. We thank you for tuning in today to see Sydney's decision and giving her the support, letting her feel how much the softball community and the softball world inside Youngstown, Ohio respects her and wishes her the best. But now we are going to go into soccer. We're going to go into soccer. It's a soccer player profile. We already let you hear from Macy Toporser earlier this season. We had her sister interviewed as well, Lexi Toporser, who is just as important to this Canfield team. Really does a lot to get the breakaways that get Macy those goals. Lexi Toporser is a playmaker in her own right. Macy said it in her interview. She'll say it in this one too. Lexi knows how to make plays on the ball and cause those breakaways that eventually end up in goals for Macy Toporser and Hannah Wahib, who are both Division I soccer players that are going to go play at the next level. So here is a great interview with Canfield sophomore Lexi Toporser on that great soccer team that is still undefeated on the season. Hartwig with you. We have a Canfield girls soccer player profile. Lexi Toporser joining us. She's a sophomore with this program. We talked to her big sister just a few minutes ago. Lexi, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I want to talk to you first about Macy and being able to be on the team with her. Obviously, the last 2 years, you've been able to be on this program with her, and she talked about what a great dynamic you two have. From your perspective, what's it been like to learn from her over the last 2 years and to be able to call her a teammate for your last 2 years of soccer?
She's been really helpful. She's pushed me through practices and games, and she's always been there for me. And it's just sad because it's our last year together. So, and we've been playing up front together. So it's really fun.
One of the things we asked her was, has it sunk in yet that she's a senior and that it's her last year? From your perspective, how much have you let the reality sink in on your side that it's your last year with her and it's your last year that you're going to be able to play with her?
I still can't process that she's leaving, and it's going to be really sad because she's leaving because she's my best friend also. So it's crazy that this is her last year even playing together and living together.
One of the other questions that I asked her that I want to ask you too, from your perspective, personality wise and player wise, how do you think you two are the same, and how do you think you two are different when you kind of look at yourselves?
I feel like I feel like I am more of like a playmaker, and I feel like she like goes like more like all like goal scorer, like on the ball more. And personality wise, I feel like we're like alike mostly.
Now, she said that you guys shop a lot. So one of my big questions when I heard that is, what is something that you spend a lot of money on that maybe too much money on, that you like, if you go to the store, it's trouble time?
Probably makeup.
All right, so let's get back into soccer, and it's your sophomore season. You guys haven't lost yet this year. What's it been like to be a part of a program, especially this season, that is having so much success so far on the floor, on the field?
It's been really fun. Everyone's been really supportive of each other, and everyone's working hard at practice, on and off the field, and it's just been really fun so far. And I enjoy like playing with my sister a lot.
Last year you were a freshman; it was all new to you. This year, still underclassmen, but there's no more surprises. What's it been like transitioning from freshman to sophomore season?
It's been pretty smooth. Um, I don't. It's been like smooth. Like there's not really like any transition like much.
How much do you talk to the freshmen about things that you went through last year in your first season, that you try to give them as much advice as possible?
Having confidence in yourself and always working hard.
All right, so you have confidence. We know that. What is one of the things that gives you that confidence? Like, who are the biggest people or the biggest things that give you all the confidence that you have?
All of our coaches give us a lot of confidence, and they always like remind us and like help us at practice. And I feel like Macy gives me a lot of confidence because and our teammates, and Macy always is like helping me and like trying to like we always go and practice together.
Let's talk about Phil Simone and your coaching staff. Obviously, Coach Simone has been doing this for a long, long time. He's one of the legends in the soccer community, especially this soccer community. What's it mean? What's it meant to you to be under him, and what kind of things has he taught you about the game?
He's been really helpful, and he's always telling us to work hard. And all of our coaches are very helpful, and they're always trying to do what's best for us. And they're always there for us no matter what.
Let's talk about role models. Who are some of the people in your life that you go to if you need a pick me up, or you need inspiration, or you just need like a driving force? Maybe you're having a tough day. Who are those people in your life that you always can go to?
Mostly Macy. She's always like there for me, and she always can make me laugh if I'm having like a bad day.
Let me tell you guys too, like, she's not just saying that because Macy's right next to her either. It's legit. What are some things that she tells you, or advice that she gives you that you think really sticks with you? Like, what are some of the things that she has told you, or things that she has given you that really stick with you?
She's always giving me confidence, and she's always telling me to keep my head up and focus on the game, and just she always like has something positive to say. So I don't like so I'm always like hard on myself, but she always has something positive to say.
All right, so let's talk about, your favorite moments on the soccer field, your favorite memories so far with this team. What are some favorite memories that you have on the soccer field so far with this Canfield program?
Probably winning districts with our team. It was really fun, and it was like a fun moment with everyone.
What about favorite memories off the field? We know that you guys do a lot off the field to build chemistry and to build bonds with your teammates. What are some of your favorite memories with this team off of the field?
Probably going to team camp, and we do like we carve pumpkins for Halloween, and we do like different like activities, and we have like team dinners, which are always so fun to get together.
What is your favorite team dinner? Like, what's the one meal before a game that you're really stoked for?
Probably chicken tenders.
That's awesome. I'm right with you. What about post game meal? Like, that can be different. What are some of your favorite post game meals?
Probably like granola bars or like something small.
Let's talk about also the big part of road games with, you have the team dinners, you have maybe a post game meal when you get home, but big part of road games is also the snack bags that parents can make. What teammate's parent makes the best snack bag for you guys?
I'm not really sure. We don't have really snack bags, so I'm not honestly sure.
Oh no, my question's ruined. Okay, so if you guys did have snack bags, what are some things that would go into a snack bag that would be like the treats for you that would be a grade A snack bag? What kind of treats do you like?
Probably like fruit snacks or goldfish or like pretzels.
And what drink would you want to be in there? Like, what's your favorite, sports drink?
Probably Gatorade.
Flavor?
Blue.
If Gatorade came to you and said, "Hey, we need a new flavor. We don't have it yet," what do you think is a flavor that you would offer them up?
Maybe some type of like tropical drink, like some like pink drink.
Like it. I like it. Okay. Let's talk about, your future. Obviously, you're going to be a junior next year. You're going to have a lot more leadership, put on your shoulders. Macy's not going to be there anymore. What kind of things are you looking for in your future as far as your goals that you want to accomplish when you become more of a leader on this team?
I'm looking for everyone to work hard and to keep like making sure like everyone's like working on and off the field, and just like everyone like to keep making sure everyone's like working.
All right, so we've talked a lot about your bond with your sister, right? Which is something that already happened. Like, you didn't need soccer for that to happen. Who are some teammates that you think, because you're on the same team, because you're on the soccer team, you've gotten really close to over the last 2 years that maybe you wouldn't have been as close with if soccer wasn't a part of your life?
Probably there's like a few. There's like I feel like Ava, Gianna, Marissa, Lena, Hannah, Vivian. There's a lot of them.
When you think of your favorite parts of the sport, you spend so much time in it, you put so much work into it, you obviously have to love it. What are your favorite parts of soccer?
My favorite parts are like working as a team and like even off the field, like everyone being together, like there for each other, and just like I like practicing and like working.
You get to represent your school every day. Every day, you get to put that Canfield on the chest. What makes you so proud to represent Canfield and to be a part of this community?
We have good bonding, and I feel like everyone is always there for each other, and just like the teammates, and just everyone's like always working for each other.
All right, we can't let you go without talking about you as a student. You're a student athlete, so we have to talk about you inside the classroom. What are some of your favorite subjects in school right now?
My favorite subjects are probably math and English.
Who are some teachers that you've already had in your high school career that have really kind of impacted your journey and helped you, be the best student you can be?
Probably Mr. Hurdley. He's my math teacher.
You have any inklings of what kind of career path or what kind of interests you when you're starting to think about college, which you'll probably have to start thinking about next year?
I want to do something with like business and entrepreneuring.
No surprise there. Lexi wants the money. She wants to go where the green is. I love it. I love it. Lexi, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to thank your support system, the people that have had your back throughout your career. I want to give you as much time as you want to shout out the people that have been in your life and that have supported you throughout your career.
I'd like to thank all my coaches for supporting me and always pushing me. I'd like to thank my family for always being at my games and always being there for me. And I'd like to thank Macy for pushing me and being my role model and always being there for me. And I would like to thank Coach Simone for everything he's done.
All right, Lexi, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck this year, and we can't wait to follow you throughout your rest of your career at Canfield and cover you more. And we'll look forward to talking to you again real soon. Lexi Toporser from Canfield, the sophomore, and continuing that Toporser legacy after her older sister Macy graduates this season and then continues her soccer career at the Division I Horizon League school, Purdue Fort Wayne University. Hannah Wahib also graduating this year and going D1 at Youngstown State. You can see why that soccer team is so impressive. 5-0 victory yesterday over St. Mary's Memorial at Columbus Crew Stadium. Ty Bartell and Matt Maher were both on the call, and it was a slow start for Canfield, but they picked it up pretty dang quick, and they hope to be back in Columbus again pretty dang soon. Lexi Taborser, like I said before, is one of the playmakers of that team. Make sure that she makes the plays to set up the goals that her sister scores. So not only are they obviously loving having each other on each other's team so they can be together as best friends, like they both said in those interviews, but it's also a huge benefit to the scorers of that team, Macy Traporser, Hannah Wahib, and company, that they have someone that can be the middleman, make the big plays to cause breakaways, that to get them the ball up front as the forwards and to get those goals, the goals to score. Lexi's also scored a handful of goals this year. I believe when that interview was conducted, her total was at 8. So she has definitely been able to make some things happen and put the ball in the net as well. Canfield will move on to the next game, next challenge ahead as they stay undefeated. They're looking for an AAC championship first. Once they check that mark off, they'll try to get into the state tournament. They have a good chance to do it this year with the wonderful veteran and senior talent they have. And no one's really slowed them down yet. They have one tie, and it was across the border. So no one in Ohio has even come within drawing them. They have no losses, of course, one tie to, I forget the team's name, honestly, in PA. I know they're a two-time reigning WPIL state champion, so it was a big game for them to go over into Pittsburgh and play it. We have another comment in the section. We want to bring it up. More love for Sydney Watts, who made her commitment at the top of the show, publicly announced that Georgia Tech will be where she goes to play her softball career after she's done at Fitch. 2 more years, though, at Austintown Fitch. 2 more chances to add more state championship rings to her hand before she goes there. I apologize. The scoreboard updated, so when I wanted to show you Saturday, it already flipped to this Saturday. So though that's why that scoreboard was blank. So we wanted to make sure that there was no shade tossed on Burnett Pool, Spas, and Hot Tub or our scoreboard. It was just I didn't get to it fast enough, and it was updated for this week. So I clicked on Saturday. My screen still said September 30th at the bottom, but it was clearly at the top. It said October 7th. So my bad there, and we will try to get to that scoreboard a little bit quicker on Mondays to make sure that that gets up on the show, and you can get the weekend recap you all come here for. Let's get into tonight's action. We'll go first with volleyball. We got Fairport Harding trying to avenge their football team. They'll travel to Pymatuning Valley. Jackson Milton goes to Ursuline for a big matchup outside the MVAC and a big test for the Blue Jays. East Liverpool going to travel on down to Salem. Potter's having a fantastic season so far. They hope it continues tonight out of the conference. How about this non-conference match? 2 double-digit win teams going at it. West Branch travels to Girard for a big matchup against the Indians. Indian Creek will go to Edison. We have Chalker going to Ashtabula St. John. East Palestine hosting Cheney. Cardinal Mooney going to host Crestview. A big opportunity for Mooney to be in their home gym against one of the area's best and see how far their measuring stick goes against someone that they might have to see in the Division III tournament that is coming up very soon. Remember, this is after this week, just 1 week left before tournament starts. So I'm guessing the draw is coming up very soon. And before we know it, we'll be talking about volleyball tournament brackets. Hubbard will go to Brookfield tonight. A big out-of-conference matchup. Most of these are non-conference matchups, actually. The conference reserved for Tuesdays and Thursdays for most teams. Liberty going to travel to Lowville as an inter-MVAC game happening there. Poland goes to Springfield tonight, trying to do some work inside the jungle. South Range, this is a big stretch of games, and it didn't go well for them last week, but another big test, 16-1 Western Reserve. South Range going there to play the Blue Devils on the road. Highland, but not the Hornets, though. Highland Hawks. Berlin Highland going to play Archbishop Hoban. And as Ty previewed on the top of the show, Highland is 15-1 on the year. Archbishop Hoban 16-0. So that's a huge matchup for the Knights, who are sitting at number 2 in our current power rankings. A big matchup here too. Toronto, a very good volleyball team, going down to Wellsville. The Tigers looking for a big win to solidify their strength. They had a huge opportunity last week against Union Local and fought the Jets all the way to 5 sets. Could not finish against the reigning Division II state finalist down there in Union Local. Columbiana going to have their crosstown rival as they'll go to their neighbor about 2 minutes down the road and play at Heartland Christian. They're undefeated. They're one of 3 undefeated teams on YSN. You got Crestview. All of them are in action tonight. Crestview, Columbiana, and Hoban are your undefeated teams left on the YSN family. They're all in action tonight. Non-conference matchups for all of them. And then you have Wyndham going up against Bloomfield tonight as well. Girls soccer action on the net in the YSN family tonight. You have Bristol going to Badger tonight. You have MVAC Great Tier action. Garfield going to Brookfield. Springfield goes to Newton Falls, the Battle of the Tigers down there in Newton Falls tonight. Cardinal Mooney will go to Niles. That's going to be a really fun matchup. Struthers goes to South Range. Poland goes to Hubbard. You have Liberty traveling to Crestview. Lakeview going to Girard tonight. Waterloo trying to test champion who's state ranked and also one of the best offenses that we have in the YSN family. Have scored a ton of goals, 70 plus goals this season, and has a goal differential that is astronomical right now. Austintown Fitch will travel to Boardman. And then last but not least, Canfield, who played yesterday, will have to not rest at all and go play a very good Howland team. This is the last chance the Tigers have to at least share the AAC championship. The Tigers' only loss in the conference came to Canfield. So Ava Yanucci and the Tigers trying to make some headway against the Cardinals tonight in Howland. What am I doing wrong? There we go. Once again, this is my computer. This is not what you'll have to go through when you're on the Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tub scoreboard. This is because I have my computer set for a very big text size because I'm blind as a bat, so it messes with the formatting of the scoreboard. Garfield goes to Jackson Milton. That in boys soccer tonight, Campbell goes to Crestview, so it'll be a boys-girls doubleheader at the View tonight. Liberty goes to LeBray. We have Bristol visiting Badger. Middle Ridge hits the road, goes to Champion for boys soccer. And last but not least, Wycliffe will travel to Grand Valley. That tells you everything that's happening tonight. Let's finish this show by going over who's going to be where broadcaster-wise. All right, we're going to have 5 volleyball games on the network. I'll go back up to the top of the scoreboard right here. 5 volleyball games on the network. We're going to have I will be at Girard for West Branch at Girard Volleyball. That's going to be a big matchup in the non-conference as Girard gets ready for a big week ahead. They have Lakeview on Thursday. They can't overlook the Warriors, though. Ty Bartel will be in Hoban as they welcome in Berlin Highland for a big matchup down there. Up there, I should say. Gary Altice are going to be in Wellsville as Toronto comes to town. That's a huge matchup. And then we have Columbiana, Heartland Christian, Joe Eusebio going to make the trip to the Purple Palace and the Lion's Den to call that one the battle for Columbiana. Last but not least, the school broadcast will have your Wyndham Bombers covered against Bloomfield. Soccer action tonight. We're going to have 2 girls games. Matt Marr going to be at Austintown Fitch at Boardman. And then CJ Bako will be at Canfield versus Howland. And that'll be it on the network tonight. Make sure to tune in. YSNlive.com YouTube.com/live is where you can find all the games. And it's going to be a fun night of sports on the network. That'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. I want to thank, first of all, Sydney Watts for taking the opportunity to come on and share her news with the world on Running Point and on YSN. We thank her for her time and congratulate her again on making her verbal commitment to play softball at Georgia Tech after her career is done at Austintown Fitch. Also want to thank Lexi Toporser for her time doing that player profile interview. What a great interview it was indeed, and I'm happy I was able to share it with all of you on Running Point. If you're interested in seeing that in its entirety, or you missed a minute of it or whatever, it is also available on YSN's YouTube page and ysnlive.com. We'll be back tomorrow with more player profiles, more game recaps, all the fun stuff that you love about Running Point. Tomorrow, 1 to 2 is where you can find us, and all the games tonight are going to be on ysnlive.com. Enjoy the night, everybody. Take it all in, because